Hi, this is Lydia Jones from Bethel Baptist Church. This is a little devotional, mostly for the girls at the church, but if you guys want to listen along and you're not from Bethel, that's fine too. One of the things I was really thinking about this week was the different women in the Bible, and thinking of different ones and thinking of their strengths and how that can be applied to our lives today. And one of the ones that really stood out to me was Esther. The story of Esther is something I think that we can really apply during this time in our lives and during this circumstance. I jotted down a couple things about her. When we think of bad circumstances, we all have different things that we've gone through, but Esther had it really rough as well. She was an orphan. She was from a war-torn country. She was taken from her homeland and put in this new country, new customs, new traditions. Everything was different. And even a new religion was being pushed upon them, and they had to choose not to be with that. And you'd think, wow, that's really rough. And right when she gets settled into that new country, she ends up getting chosen to be one of the king's wives and to compete for the honor of being the queen. And it's easy for you to think, oh, cool, she was going to be a queen. But it was the choice was her being a slave wife or her being the queen. There was no chance of her going back home and living a normal life after that happened. But we see that instead of growing bitter at her circumstances and angry at God, she chose to trust God through them. And because of that, God blessed her. He gave her favor, not just with the man that was in charge of the women before she met the king, but he gave her favor with everyone that met her. In Esther 2, verse 15, I noticed this verse that I hadn't really seen before. It says, and Esther obtained favor in the sight of all them that looked upon her. And of her impact on the king himself, it says, she was also loved above all the women, and then he made her his queen. Because of her trust in God, God blessed her despite her circumstances. And throughout her life, you can see how God chose to use her because of her trust in him. Pretty much right now, our circumstances are very uncertain, but despite that, like I was saying last week, we can choose and make that choice to trust in God. Another thing I really noticed about her was that even though everything was crazy in her life and things were not going the way she wanted them to, she didn't get bitter and choose to go out for number one. She chose to instead align herself with her people instead of just letting them all die and going for herself. Later on in the story, she's given the opportunity to not tell anyone she's a Jew and to save herself, but she chooses instead to risk her life for her people. And I wanted to encourage you all to think of others during this time. It's really easy to grab the last, pack of wipes or the last toilet paper roll. But if you don't need it, like even when you're shopping, think of other people. Put other people first. It's easy during a pandemic or a lot of times to put yourself first. But try to be courteous to others. Make that a priority. Another thing that Esther did was she prayed instead of worrying about her circumstance. When she couldn't change them, she prayed about it. She stated this, fast ye for me, I also and my maidens will likewise fast. When she saw a situation which was her people were going to be pretty much murdered by one of the rulers, she didn't just sit there and worry. She fasted and prayed, and she got others that were of like faith to pray with her. I want to encourage you guys, if you guys have a need, pray about it, and don't just pray about it. If you want, you can talk to Brother Mike or Sister Lynn and have them pray with you over your burdens. The fourth thing I noticed about Esther was she was a woman of action. She didn't just sit there and let things happen. She went to the king and she risked her life for her people. And because of that, she saved everyone in her nation. And there's a nation of Israel today because of her actions then. I wanted to encourage you all that if you guys see a chance to help someone or a way to make a difference, whether it be a big thing or a small thing, it could be going shopping for an elder because they're not as healthy as you are, or watching your siblings so your guardian can get a little bit of a break. Those things matter and they have an impact for eternity. I wanted to kind of leave you guys with this. Esther's uncle Mordecai made this statement to her, and it really stuck with me. Who knowest whether thou art come for such a time as this? And I feel like we need to have that same attitude. Maybe God has us here in this situation for a purpose. Maybe God wants us to learn to trust him more or to draw closer to him through prayer, or to learn how to help others through situations. But let's use this time and think, what does God want to teach me during this moment? Thank you guys for listening and have a great day.